back to Reads and Threads. My name's Kate. Hello if you're new here. Welcome back if you're joining us again. This video is going to be my April vlog slash wrap up. Over April, we did Aussie April, where I spun a spinner wheel to decide what I was going to read throughout the month. In my April TBR video is our first spin from my Aussie April spinner wheel. And we got A Crown of Oaths and Curses by J. Bree as our first read. I was really looking forward to that. I'd heard a bit about her from other booktubers, so I was interested to see if I liked her or not. In saying that, as I've been editing, I have discovered that April was a big learning curve for me. The way that I thought I could put this video together hasn't really worked out how I was hoping. I have a lot of footage that is making the video extremely long. So I think what I'm going to do is actually split this video into two parts. So this is going to be part one, and then I will put out a part two a couple of days later. I just think it's going to work out. Otherwise, it's going to be like an epically long video. This one will go to about mid-April. I just want to find a good stopping point, and that way you can hear what I'm thinking. You can see me spin for a few books as they come up, and I just know that this is not the way that I will be doing it in the future. It was worth trying. It was fun while I was doing it, but I just think that maybe I needed to bring those videos out once a week, possibly as we were going through April, do a more vlog style like that. Hey, is what it is. I will learn from this and move on, but hopefully you still enjoy the wrap up. I will do my stats for all of April at the end of the second video, just so if you are only interested in them, you can just wait and jump to that if you really want to. Overall, hopefully you enjoy this video and you find some good reads from what I've read, or feel free to tell me some good reads that you've read. But we'll jump straight in. The first clip is literally me talking about starting A Crown of Oaths and Curses. So see how we go. Hello, I have started Crown of Oaths and Curses. So I am reading on my iPad via the Kindle app. So this is technically the first official book in the Mortal Fates series, though there is the two novellas before this, The Scepter and the Sword, which I did read in March and did quite enjoy them. And it's a really interesting setup. Now, the beginning of this one, I don't want to say a huge amount, and literally I'm only on page 80 of 663 pages, so I'm 11% through the book. I'm up to chapter 5. We meet Rook and Soren again, and it has been 200 years since what happened in the Sword. So a lot has changed. We've had a huge amount happened in the war between the Unseelie Fae and the witches. Rook has been in the Northern Lands battling with the Seelie Court against some demons. Then that war has just finished, and he's finally coming back to the Southern Lands to accept her fate, which is to marry Prince Soren and hopefully put a stop to this witch and fae war. Soren knows that he's going to meet his fated mate at this time, though has no idea who she actually is. And so he, very early on in this book, finds out that it is Rook, and he detests witches. He wants to eliminate all of them, completely wipe them out, and he thinks that that's going to be how he brings peace to his land, and he needs to marry his mate to actually be able to become king. At the moment, his uncle is acting as regent, and in their society, he has to marry his mate before he's able to get the throne. So a lot is happening. A lot of the characters are interesting, though I don't know that at the moment this book needed to be 663 pages long. There is a lot of repetition. The author is repeating herself a lot. There is a lot of inner monologue. that I think could have just been cut down a lot, and it was fairly unnecessary. I'm hoping that that doesn't continue for a huge amount of time, though from some of the reviews that I have had a look at Goodreads, because I was getting a little frustrated last night when I was reading, I don't like my chances. I think that at least the first half of this book is considered really slow, and then it picks up towards the end. So I'm hoping that I still like it. In the last chapter that I was just reading, I was enjoying it a little bit more. She was finally getting to some of the plot after they'd met. And I think hopefully as they find out a bit more about each other, it should hopefully improve. But then I guess that's going to be determined on how willing they are to find out about each other, specifically Prince Soren, because I think he is going to be the hardest to bring around to what needs to actually happen for this story to continue. So I'm enjoying it. Slightly frustrated. I think it could have done with a little bit more editing at the moment, and doesn't necessarily, like I said, need to be this long, but we'll see how it goes. So my first update, my first few thoughts, I will update you again when I am maybe halfway through, and we'll see, unless something comes up that I just can't not tell you. I think that's what I'm planning at the moment. So about a halfway through update, and then maybe one at the end. But so far I am in my first Aussie read for Aussie April, so really enjoying it. Okay, I am about to head to work. I have a bit of a late start today, which means I have to stay a bit later tonight. But I just really need an audio. So I am going to respin my Aussie April wheel and see what we get, and try and get an audio that I can listen to at work today. Can I get an audio of that? We got Nevernight by J. Christoph. So I'm just going to quickly look into that and see if I can. Awesome. I've just looked on Libby and there is an audio available, so I am going to borrow that. I'll give that a go at work today. Hopefully the narrator is good. I did just pick up the book the other day on my birthday bookshop tour, so I am looking forward to seeing if J. Christoph is an author that I like writing on his own, which is interesting. And this is his first series that he did on his own as well, which is great. So hopefully I really enjoy it. If you don't know what Nevernight is about, I will just read the synopsis on the back. So we got Mia Corvair is only 10 years old when she's given her first lesson in death. Destined to destroy empires, the child raised in shadows made a promise on the day she lost everything to avenge herself on those that shattered her world. But the chance to strike against such powerful enemies will be fleeting, and Mia must become a weapon without equal. Before she seeks vengeance, she must seek training among the infamous assassins of the Red Church of Atreia. Inside the church's halls, Mia must prove herself against the deadliest of opponents and survive the tutelage of murderers, liars, and demons at the heart of a murder cult. The church is no ordinary school, but Mia is no ordinary student. I am really looking forward to this one. I am glad to give this one a go. I will update you when I'm a little bit into it to give you my first thoughts. So we'll see how much I can get done today at work. You never know, I might be able to update you tonight, but definitely within the next few days. Hi, so I thought I would just quickly jump in. I am getting ready to film my March wrap up, so I'm just putting together the pieces for that. But I just thought I would jump in and give you an update on A Crown of Oaths and Curses, which is my first in my Aussie April reads. I'm about 50% through now, just over. I have gotten into the meat of the story. I think that there is a lot of extra pages in this book that do not need to be there. There's so much inner dialogue with both of the characters, Rooks and Soren, and she constantly is rehashing information that she's told you a couple of chapters beforehand, or in the 2 novellas that came before this. And I think if you make it that the novellas need to be read, like they are literally part of the series, that you say, no, they can't be missed, they've got to be read, I think just kind of have it like that and don't rehash everything that came up in the novellas. Because really, I probably could have skipped both of the novellas and still been able to follow this story. And now, saying that, that's not to say I'm not enjoying it per se. It didn't need to be 600 pages. It could have been a really awesome story. The plot is great. It's not that she can't write. I just think it needed more editing. Just could have had a fair bit of it taken out. Up to about 35%, I was reading it just flat. But I will say that over the last few days, I have skipped major chapter like sections and really not missed anything. I did kind of skim over them as I was flicking pages, but I don't feel like I missed anything integral at all by not reading the entire thing. So I did jump to about the middle where they started to interact together more. There was a lot of rehashing, a lot of not happy with her, the fact that she's a witch. They're my mortal enemy. From Soren's point of view, he didn't want anything to do with her. He's pretty much like, I will follow through on my fate, but also really was not at the same time. He wasn't even attempting to get to know Rook. He shoved her in a dungeon and that was pretty much it. She, though, as a character, she's kick-ass. She's absolutely awesome. I will agree with a fair few of the reviews I read on Goodreads when I was just trying to figure out if it was worth continuing, because I was on the struggle train for a while. But everyone was really commenting about how good a female main character Rooks actually is. And I will agree, she's kick-ass. She knows her stuff and she's not afraid to show it. She thinks that everyone around her is an absolute imbecile, but she knows what she needs to do and she's just willing to get it done no matter how badly the rest of the characters treat her. I really do just want her to go nuts and take over and put them all back in their place, really, because at the moment I really wouldn't care if she did. I think Soren is a bit of a bastard, and then the other princes are just as bad. They know his fate. They're not even willing to admit that she is doing anything good just because she's a witch, and even in knowing that is that prejudice that just because she's a witch and there are evil witches, that means that every witch is evil. And I can understand that to a degree, but I think it's taken too far. And I think a lot of that is to do from her repetition and kind of her waffle. I think if it had just been tightened up at the beginning, I reckon you could have had the same effect with, yes, they don't trust her, they don't want to accept her because of who she is, they think she's plotting against them. Instead of being over 300 pages, could have got done over 150 to 200. Overall, I think I will continue. Like I said, the plot is good. I am really intrigued in what's going to happen. I think the setup is good. I like the world creation. I think it's not fully out yet, which is a little bit annoying. When I started the novellas, I didn't realize that this series wasn't finished. I think the first 2 books are definitely out. I don't know that it's one that I'm going to necessarily jump straight into the next one, but we'll see. If it ends on a cliffhanger, I might just read that in the background or continue on. But I do want to really spin my spinner wheel again, so we'll see how that goes. Other update, I did spin my spinner wheel a couple of days ago, which you would have seen the clip before this, because I needed an audio, and I ended up getting J. Christoph's Nevernight, which I do own physically, but I have left in the other room, so I'm just going to chuck a picture up here. I can't say that I'm overly enjoying it. I'm up to chapter 8. Actually, I will go get it. One sec. Okay, I'm back. Nevernight. So I just had a look. I am definitely up to chapter 8, which is actually 94 pages in. So I've read about that much. I'm not overly enjoying it. I don't know if it is the audio. I like the narrator. His voice is fine. It's been great. It's just not hitting it for me, I don't think, at the moment. And I can't tell if it is just because it's audio and I'm not physically reading it. I had to listen to the first bit of this book like 5 times to try and figure out what was going on. And I'm not even entirely sure I still know what's going on. So we follow Mia Corvera, and she is currently on the hunt for an assassin's school, but you also have these bits where it jumps back at the beginning of a chapter and it's in all italics. So you can probably see that. And that's her past. So it's finding out what happened to her parents. Her father is convicted of treason and executed. And then her mother is popped into prison. And it's thought that she's actually killed as well, but she survives. It's really hard in the audio to determine the back to the past bits and the current day bits. And then there turns out, I think, that there's also footnotes. Yeah, there's footnotes in here, which again, when you're listening to the audio, I can't tell what's a footnote and what's not. And that footnote there was half a page. So all of a sudden you just got this narrative that sounds like nothing that you were listening to a second ago before that. And it's really confusing. I'm not enjoying this at all. I am right now considering DNFing this series. I don't know if I should try and read the next chapter physically. I really don't know. I'm not having a good time. But then I've looked at all the reviews on Goodreads and everyone's given it like 4.5 to 5 stars. My friends, other YouTubers that I watch have all really enjoyed it. And I don't know, is it just me? Am I not getting it? Is audio really not the way to go for this one? And if I was reading this physically, it would be better. I don't know what to do. I might leave the bookmark in it and possibly have a chat with a couple of my friends and see what it was that they really liked about it. I might definitely spin my Aussie April wheel again and try and get another audio, because I really do need an audio as well. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do. So if when this clip comes out at the end of April and you have very strong feelings about Nevernight and J. Kristoff's book series, I would love to hear your thoughts, what you liked about it, or you like me and completely struggled and nixed it. But I think I'll leave the bookmark in for now. I don't know that maybe I'll just soft DNF it for now and wait and have a chat with a couple of my friends, but at the moment not looking good, which is really disappointing because I have really enjoyed the books that he has written with Amy Kaufman, and I do still want to read his other series, Empire of the Vampire, I think it is, Empire of the Damned. I can't remember the exact title, but that one I am eager to try as well. Alrighty, so it is Sunday night and I really need a new audiobook to take to work tomorrow. So let's spin again. I'm going to screen record my iPad and just see what we get. So let's give it a go and hope for the best. Ravens by Kate Forsyth. This is going to work really well for my Buzz Readathon challenge as well, because it has to have an animal in the title. Really excited about that. Let's just hope that I can actually get it on audio. That would be great. I have never looked, so let's have a look for that, because I do really think I do need to read that, I think, because I don't think there's any other book that I have on that spinner wheel that actually has an animal in the title other than that one. So that's extremely lucky that that came up. I don't know what I probably would have done if it didn't. No. I'm wondering if there is even an audio out there for it. I will keep The Tower of Ravens as a book that I will read. It's just I'm going to have to physically read that. So I'm halfway through A Court of Oaths and Curses. I will definitely pick up Tower of Ravens next as an ebook option. I'm just going to hide that slice. I really still need an audio. So let's try spinning again and see what we get. Okay, we got James Islington's The Will of the Many. Have they done an audio for that yet? I don't know. I've definitely seen the actual book around. Let's just have a look on Audible and see. So there is one on Audible, so I can definitely, hopefully, do this one. If I can't get it on any of my other platforms where I can get it for free and borrow it, I will probably use a credit and get it on Audible and try that one that way. But at least hopefully I have a new audio that I can listen to at work. And I have been really intrigued by this. I am very interested to check out James Islington and see if I like his writing style. And I have heard good things about The Will of the Many, so I am looking forward to reading that. Also, sorry for the atrocious lighting in this clip, and it's making me look like I have two black eyes in the camera at the moment from what I can see. So hopefully that's not coming across, because I don't. But okay, I'm happy with that one. Got all excited that I thought I had found an audiobook that I could actually listen to. Just quickly previewed the one that was coming up on Audible and the narrator sounded really good. Then realized it said add to waitlist and it doesn't come out to the end of May on audio. That is not an option. We're going to have to spin again. Hopefully we will get an audio at some point. I am kind of tempted to hide the ones that I know I can't listen to on audio. Probably should have had another spinner wheel that was specifically audio related. But we'll keep going and hopefully I will find one. So let's spin again. I've already screen recorded and give it a go. We got another one that doesn't have an audio, so let's keep going. Broken. I don't know if that's got an audio. I think learning curve next time I need one that is specifically audio and specifically ebooks and physical, considering I do tend to like having both on a go. Leave it with me for a sec. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we have a successful hunt. I have managed to find the audio on Everend, so thankfully, I do still have my trial going on and I can listen to that one that way. So that will be our next read, which is Chloe Hodges' The Cursed and the Broken. I'm really excited to get to this one. I'm hoping I really like it. I absolutely love the dust jacket on this one. I think it's so pretty. And the inside cover, it's just gorgeous. When I saw those at Fiction and Friction the first time I went, I couldn't leave them there. Absolutely loved them. The story sounded really good as well. I'll read you the back of this one. It said, years ago, the Dark Queen was executed by witches. Her cultists hunted down like rats and forced into hiding. Their black magic buried and put to rest. All was well in the world, or so we thought. Kidarani Barani, witch and shepherd of her flock, has always been different. There's a darkness in her blood and a destiny beyond the border of her small village. Corruption is spreading, and the whispers of cultists stir through the woods once again. Betrothed to the heir of the Wolf blood clan, she risked not only her life but her heart. United, they must stand against the cultists, or watch the kingdom of Hungary fall. Cursed by death and controlled by fate, Katrani is forced to meet her demons or die by them. I think it sounds really good and I'm hoping I really like it. I'm really looking forward to this. So glad that I managed to find an audiobook version of it so I can listen to that. And I do have the physical one if I want to dip in and out of that as well, depending on what's going on. Hello, today I did manage to start The Cursed and the Broken. I've taken the jacket cover off of my version of the book so that I don't ruin it, because I wanted to follow along in the physical book. I popped on my jacket cover that I got from Charlie and Fox, which I will link down below. They are really cool. I actually have 4 of them in different sizes now, which I absolutely love. This one's slightly too big for the book, but the one that I have that's the next size down was slightly too small. I'm going to try and get at least one of each size that they sell, just so that for whatever I'm reading, I always have a cover. That's not what you're after though. I'm here to do an update on these books. I am going to read just quickly now up to the end of chapter 8 because I've got like a page, 2.5 pages, if that, until I hit the chapter break. I will end up being on about page 90. A decent amount through. It is moving through the chapters really quickly. We're following, now, can I say her name without butchering it? Katani, who has just turned 18 and she's living in a witch coven in Hungary. So it is interesting with this one that it is set on Earth, like our Earth now. I don't know exactly what time period we're in, but they seem to pretty much be left alone in their coven and don't have a huge amount to do with the outside world. But the witches are getting taken out. They've had a slew of witches go missing who have just turned 18, and in this society the females live together in a coven and they do form relationships to have children, but then they never marry. They don't live with any males. They're all separate. And she turns out that she's also found out that she is about to be married. So her mother has arranged a marriage between her and the commander's son of like a wolf clan, I think it was. I'm a bit confused. I cannot get the name terminology down. It is probably handy that I'm listening to it from that sense because all the Hungarian words would probably have been majorly stumping me physically reading along with this. She does seem fairly confident. Her magic seems to be different than that of everyone else in the coven, which is interesting. So she does have the ability to heal wounds and that kind of stuff, which they don't have. And so she does feel very much on the outside, and she has been visited by death on a certain night every year. The older generations tell stories to the younger children about death coming to claim them, and even though they offer him prayers and sacrifices and do spells and all that kind of stuff, witches are still dying. And her younger sister runs out to save animals, and she runs after her and she ends up having a interaction with death, and he tells her that her fate isn't what she thinks it is, and that there's a witch, Baba Ganoush, I think it was, that lives in the forest that isn't who she says she was, and that her fate is somehow linked with her. I may have missed the intricacies of that, but I'm hoping that will make a bit more sense the more I read. I do like it. I don't know, again, that I love the narrator. She, from what I looked up when I started, when I was trying to get used to her voice, she is an American actress. She has done a lot of different audio narrations. I think it was like 327. I don't know that her voice works the best for the character age-wise. Like, she sounds too old. I don't want to be ageist or anything, but in my head, the character voice and the character just aren't meshing overly well. And then sometimes her voice doesn't sound different when she's talking in that character's voice, or she's put on an older accent that she was using for the mother. She's not the best. She's not the worst I've ever heard. I can definitely listen to it, which is what I wanted. I wanted an audiobook. But I may do what I'm about to do now and just finish off endings of the chapter physically if I end up stopping at the end of the day in a little bit. I think this one I'm going to get through fairly quickly, which is good. I'm happy with that because the Oaths and Curses, the one I'm reading physically, I can never remember its name, is a bit more of a slog. It's enjoyable, but again, like I've said in previous vlogs, too wordy. Could have had a whole heap cut out, but this is good. I do like it. I do think that I prefer my fantasy set in completely made up worlds rather than on Earth. I'm not a huge on Earth kind of fantasy person, and the fact that I know it's hungry, it just makes it not as interesting for me, I think. Although I have heard and seen references to, I guess, Hungarian folklore and all that kind of stuff in TV shows and in other books. Like, I've heard of Baba Ganoush before. I don't know a huge amount about it, so that part is interesting, like learning those stories a bit more and seeing their take on that. So that's interesting. Again, it's first person narration. You've probably heard me say multiple times over the last couple of weeks, couple of months, I don't like first person narration, and it seems that the majority of the books lately that I am naturally picking up seem to be in first person. This one isn't as bad as a couple of the others that I have read where I just feel too in their head. So overall, not disliking it. I am enjoying my time. It's easy to listen to. It's not an all-time favorite at the moment, but you never know, the more I get into the book and meet the love interest, possibly even the person she's been betrothed to, it might amp up. And so at the moment, it has a lot of potential that I'm really looking forward to. So that's it for me tonight. I am going to keep reading. Okay, so I have just made it to part 3 of The Cursed and the Broken. I am predominantly listening to this one, so I did pick this one to get an audiobook that I could read at work. In saying that, I have been popping in and out physically as well, which has been quite handy, mainly because I'm not vibing with the narrator for this at all. I think she sounds too old, which I think I do remember telling you all that already. And her accent just isn't right. Like, this book's set in Hungary. Not that that means we have to have a Hungarian narrator, but it's just, I don't know, it's missing something. And I think I'm on page 243, and I think there's about 363 pages of the book, so I really don't have too much to go at all. I am enjoying it. The setup is quite good. So we have met a fair few more characters, I think, since I last updated you. So the main one being Dante, who is the son of the Lord of the Tolstok. My pronunciation of the Hungarian words using this is going to be butchering it. We've also found out a date about when it's set. So they do mention in here the Roman Empire, the Mongolian War or invasion of Hungary. So we're talking a while ago. And it's actually, they're mentioning as well the birth of Christianity as it is moving its way through Europe. I still don't know that I love that it's set on Earth. Like, here, it just, it kind of takes away from the book, I think. The coven where our main character Katrani is living at the start is extremely isolated. They don't know much about what's going on in the outside world at all. There are no men living at this coven. It's literally just the females. So the women and their children, they'll get together with this local coven from Misthaven to have children, and then that's about it. However, it turns out we've had some major plot twists. Find out that our main character is not necessarily who she thinks she is. She finds out some stuff about her past that she wasn't aware of, and that does push her off into another direction. There is a supernatural-ish kind of element to this one. So Katrani is visited by death and fate and told that there is a series of events that need to happen for her to stop an evil queen from ruining the world. She has that on her shoulders as well. The relationship between her and Dante is extremely fast. They all of a sudden are each other's pretty much everything. It gets to a bit of a battle scene that I've just finished, and they're willing to sacrifice their lives for each other. Can't have anything happen to the other one, because that would just ruin them completely. We have already had some spicy scenes as well, which were fine. They definitely don't shy away from anything, which is okay. It's been a good read. It's interesting. I am happy to pick it up and keep going. I don't want to not. So even me not liking the narration very much isn't putting me off. I am preferring it when I'm physically reading it. I should hopefully finish this one over the weekend, I think. I don't think it'll take me that much longer. I've got a long weekend, which is great. And the other book that I am in the middle of, A Crown of Oaths and Curses, I am about 83% through this one. So not, again, much to go on with. It's too long. My thoughts on this one haven't really changed. I do really like the underlying plot, but it's just, they're too long. And then I did look up the sequel to this as well, and it's another 683 pages. I'm hoping that one is going to be more plot and less angsty pre-thought and that kind of thing, that we're just repeating the same kind of storyline. Something will happen, Prince Soren can't trust her. Something will happen, Prince Soren can't trust her. There's always that underlying apprehension, and they just they have no clue what's happened, but no willingness to really look in and change themselves to better the kingdom. To the point where it's kind of gets, like, I keep scoffing in my head going, really, again? I just think he needs to grow up a bit. He talks about he needs to do everything to save his kingdom. He's willing to do anything, but he's really not. He's not even trying. He's just constantly suspicious. And though I understand that to a point, it's kind of ridiculous at the same time. He knows the outcome of what's going to happen if he doesn't follow through on following what the fates have put out for him. And so at this point, I'm just like, can we get on with it? The second half of this has been a lot better than the first. We are slowly getting some progression and interactions with other races and all that kind of stuff, which has been really interesting. That's my update on both of those. I will try to get those both finished pretty much this weekend. And we will be spinning again for another read. I will probably start Tower of the Ravens. I think I do have that one on ebook, so I can at least start that. And I will look for another audio read. Okay, early this morning, I guess. Late last night, early this morning, I did manage to finish A Crown of Oaths and Curses. So that is the first full-length novel in the Mortal Fate series. So it's technically book one, even though there were the two novellas before it. And I just wanted to give you my thoughts. They're not going to be super long, but I had just made a coffee, so you've got me drinking that as well. I did like it. I am only going to give it 3.5 stars, I think, mainly just because of the unnecessary length that it is. I think I would read one thing and then read the exact same thing again 2 or 3 chapters later. And I'm just like, you don't need to explain it to me again. Also, if it's been brought up in the novellas, I don't necessarily think that you need to go into that much detail about it in the actual book either. The underlying plot, I think, was great. I do like the possible enemies to lovers. I don't know how that's going to go, considering how bad Prince Soren's character actually gets. So just from, like, his prejudices are insane, and he just will not believe anything that is coming out of anyone's mouth, especially Rook's. He just cannot get over that she's a witch. I really did like the last half a lot better than the first half. But even then, in saying that, still too wordy. Rook, on the other hand, is awesome. She is a really kick-ass female main character. She is take no prisoners. She knows what she needs to do. She's confident in herself. She can kick ass if she needs to, and literally, and is just so good and puts up with so much that I I really just wanted to tell them all to F off and have at it. Like, she should just let them all suffer, but doesn't, because she knows that really it is the innocence that is going to suffer the most. It's a good story. It just needs more editing. It really does. I am interested to see where she takes Rook. I hope that she ends up with an epic character arc finale. I think there's still a third book to come that hasn't been written yet. So I'm not sure. So I'm not in a huge rush to get to the next one. I will read it. But that was A Crown of Oaths and Curses, and I cannot remember that title unless I am reading it. The amount of times that I've looked at what it is and then not remembered 5 seconds later, I don't know. Anyway, that was it, and I'm very much looking forward to moving on to my next book and seeing how that goes. Okay, so this morning I was going to come on and tell you that I had started Tower of Ravens and then What I Thought of It by Kate Forsyth, which was going to help me with the April Buzzwordathon as well. Turns out that's not a book for me at all. I didn't even get to the end of the first chapter. To the point where, as well, and I can't see them at the moment, I think I'm going to unhaul the other Kate Forsyth that I do own. They must be behind the chair because they weren't in my other room on the bookshelf in there that I could see either. But I do own the first 3, I think, of her other series, and it turns out they're connected. Where the one Tower of Ravens that I was going to read is actually set 25 years after the ending of that series. And I figured if I really couldn't do that one, I probably wasn't going to like the others set in the same world. So I think I will unhaul them. The thing that it was that got me is, I think she was a half human but animal, but more animal. And I can't. I don't know why. I can read shifter like stories, all that kind of stuff, but I think the ones that I do read, they're always more humanized humans. Anyway, not for me, but that kind of puts me at a weird spot. So the other thing I have going on, I am off to the zoo in a minute. So we're going in, me, a couple of my sisters, nieces, nephew, to the zoo, Adelaide Zoo. One of my sisters, it's her birthday today, so we're going to go hang out there. But in saying that, it takes me 45-ish minutes to get to the zoo. So the other book that I am reading, The Cursed and the Broken, there is only an hour left of that, and I was hoping to finish that physically. But either way, that's getting finished today. So I need a new book, hopefully one with an audio option as well. So we're going to spin again and let's see what we get. We got A Liar of Bones by Helen Shearer. Oh, I'm really excited because I really want to try her stuff. More so the Legends of Thesma series, but this is another series she's done that sounds really good. So, okay, I'm really excited about that. Hopefully there is an audio version. I might just look into that and come back to you. And either way, we will read this one next. Otherwise, well, hopefully I can get my hands on it. I don't actually own it. So I'm going to look into that one. And I might come back and spin again for an audio if this one doesn't have an audio, but I'll let you know. Okay, so that one didn't work out at all. I'm going to start recording again. We'll spin again. Learning curve. I know what to look for next time before I put a list together. So let's give it another go. I will have a bit more of a look into that, but at the moment I can't find anything anywhere. Okay, we got Thief's Magic by Trudy Canavan. Again, I have read from Trudy before and really enjoyed her stuff. So hopefully, I'm pretty sure this one doesn't connect to her other series. So let's have a look and see what we can find. Okay, that one is not working out. So let's hide the slice for that one and give it another go, because at the moment, I don't know what else to do. So let's spin again. We got The Wrong Girl Girl by CJ Archer. So that one I can definitely start reading physically. I have an ebook version of that one, so that is good. We've got an actual book. Cool. So that's our next read. I'm going to hide that slice and let's try for an audio. Okay, so literally scratch everything that I have just said and recorded. Sorry, you're a bit wonky. I thought I couldn't find The Layer of Bones by Helen Shearer anywhere. It turns out my iPad wasn't logging into my Audible properly. So there is an Audible version of Layer of Bones. So that is the one I'm going to start with. I'm going to pop Thief's Magic back into my spinner wheel because it turns out that that's available on there too. I could do either of them, so huge mix up, but I'm going to go back to our original spin. Oh my god, so annoying. But either way, I have an audio and I have a physical, which was, what was it called? The Wrong Girl by CJ Archer. So cool. I will get those up and I will let you know my thoughts when I start reading them. I do still now need to figure out a book that has an animal in the title for my Buzzwordathon because Tara Ravens is definitely not going to work, and that was the only one that I had on my list that had an animal in it. So I'm going to have to do a bit of scouring around and see if I can find something else. Doesn't necessarily have to be fantasy. It just needs to have an animal in the title and be an Aussie author. Okay, so I have just got back from the zoo and I did manage to finish The Cursed and the Broken, which is what I thought would happen because I said before I left I only had an hour left of the audio. Some of it, as I was listening towards the end, I was just like, oh, this is obviously going to happen. So it was a bit of an obvious ending, I think. I think the relationship in the second half when Katrani finally meets Dante is extremely fast. It felt very much like an insta-love kind of situation in a romance book. I don't feel like though that there is enough time. Like, it's all very fast. She straight away feels like she's fully in love with him and him with her to an unbelievable point, I think, from how fast that all happened. When it was an arranged marriage, she knew nothing about it, and at the beginning of that, when she does find out, she is super annoyed and apparently hates him and detests him, which it just is a bit quick for me. I do think I'm a little bit more of a slow burn kind of situation where it feels like they're getting to know each other, like there is some development within it. It is good. I don't also think that the ending, it gives me the desire really to quickly move on to the second one, which I think if it's a really good series, you want to straight pick up the next one and have that just be, you want to go straight into it. That desire really to sit down and only want to do this and only want to read this. I think the narrator played a huge part in me not necessarily enjoying it overly much. She didn't sound right for Katani at all. Overall, I think, though I like the length of this one, if we were, say, comparing it to Crown of Oaths and Curses that I was reading at the same time that I was listening to this one, with that being how long that was compared to this one, I think this one's a much better size. And then where this one's good, it probably doesn't get a better rating overall. I think it's still probably a 3.5. I'm glad I've read it. Like I do, I love the cover. I think it's gorgeous. So I'm not upset that I own them or that I bought them. I will read the next one, which is The Fated and the Damned. But yeah, 3.5, not bad. It does show me though how much a narrator can, which I did already know this, can change a book. So on the way back after I had finished The Cursed and the Broken, I did start the audio for The Layer of Bones by Helen Shearer. Now I haven't heard anyone talk about this series and I am only on chapter 3, didn't get through very much of it, probably about 20-ish minutes maybe. and I don't have a physical copy of that book, so I can't see how much that is through it. But already, the narrator seems great. Her accent, I quite like it. I just think she seems like she's going to be extremely easy to listen to, and her voice is just a lot better for the story. The story is sounding interesting already. I do not know what it is about, so I'll get it up and I'll read you the synopsis, because like I said, no one's really talked about that. I've heard a lot about her Legends of Thesma series, but not the Layer of Bones. And I know that in previous clips I have said liar unintentionally and then realized my mistake afterwards. We're following a siren in this one, which I think is really interesting. I don't know that I've ever read a book about a siren. So on Goodreads, the synopsis they've got on here is: deadly contest, a vaulting ambition. How far will one siren go to win? Mighty sirens have ruled the ancient lair of Sadriel for centuries. A cavernous fortress, a subterranean labyrinth of tunnels and levels powered by magic and music. From the moment she was born, Ro, the daughter of an infamous criminal, has been despised by her own kind. Restricted to the lower sector and forced to work as a common bone cleaner, she has always believed she belongs above, where lies adventure and power. Opportunity arises in the form of the Queen's Tournament, a treacherous set of trials that could see the victor crowned ruler of the entire lair. Up against the most cunning, dangerous sirens in all the realms does Rose stand a chance. And this one, there's young adult. I'm not entirely sure straight away, so I will believe that. In the first 3 chapters, I already think it is sounding awesome. I am very eager to continue that, and I will probably pick up as well this afternoon a bit later The Wrong Girl and start that. I did have a look at the ebook version that I have, and it was only like 260 maybe pages. It really wasn't much on my Apple Books. I don't think that that's going to take very long to get through either. Really happy that I realized that my Audible wasn't logged in properly and that I actually could access the audios for those 2 books that we did spin up. So now I'm a bit more confident with the spin wheel and what we will probably get next on there, hopefully. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with both those books. And I will pop The Curse and the Broken back on my shelf. I will keep this. I don't intend to get rid of it. I don't know that it's necessarily one that I will come back and reread, but I do really like the cover. So hopefully it'll be good. And you never know, the second one may really improve upon this one and finish off that duology really well when I get to that. Aussie April at the moment has been fun, hard, and interesting. Let's go with those. I'm liking the spinner wheel. Hard from the point of view that I hadn't actually looked into it enough, I don't think, to see what was available in what area that I would need it, whether it was an ebook, audio, that kind of thing. It is a lot easier if you own all of the books, but the way that I read, I haven't really got most of them, but so many that I'm interested in, I hope that I can finally get my hands on. Okay, so we're going to end part 1 here. This has just worked out to be a good stopping point. We're about midway through April at the moment. I know I've literally just started talking about 2 books, but we'll jump in the next clips and continue on with my thoughts on both of those and the rest of April, as well as the stats at the end, and see how we go. Hopefully you have enjoyed this vlog / wrap up. What did you read in April that you really liked? What did you hate? I'd love to know. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. I love recommendations. I've also linked in the description my Goodreads, my Storygraph, and my Instagram, so feel free to come along and follow me on there. I hope you're eager to check out part 2. I will release that in a couple of days. If you haven't already, please consider hitting that like button. It really does help me out. I would love to have you on board, so if you'd like to check out more content from me, please subscribe. It would be great to have you around, and I just hope that wherever you are having a really wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.